I sat down to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife expecting a lifeless rehash of the original Ghostbusters film. Turns out, it was not the movie I expected. Instead of merely copying its predecessors, Afterlife took the setup from the earlier movies, ran in a different direction, while still staying true to the original. One of my favorite creative choices made in Afterlife is that the protagonist, Phoebe, is just a kid. And not just a kid, but a kid that reads as autistic. And I'll explain what signs point to that in today's Headless Headcanon. Disclaimer, I'm not any sort of diagnostician or mental health professional, I'm just someone on the internet having fun headcanoning fictional characters. This video is simply my interpretation of the film as a neurodivergent person. Anywho, there's much spoilering and straw grasping ahead, so let's get started. Phoebe is first shown in the film tampering with the wiring in her family's apartment to improve the electrical system. Because of that, I expected her to be older than her brother, but nope, she's 12. 12. Not that many 12-year-olds would be trusted with doing the electrical work, but the way Phoebe's mom just says, "Okay, but tell me next time before you start," or something to that effect, it makes it clear that A, she's done that kind of thing before, and B, her mom is fairly confident that she won't burn the house down. At that point, I was fairly certain that Phoebe had some kind of hyperfixation, special interest, or gifted kid deep dive going on. I was also worried that her character would just stop at being electrician Sean Murphy, or just a stock genius savant kid. But praise the writers, that didn't happen. A little further into the film, Phoebe is in the car with her family on the way to summer school, and her family starts giving her advice on how to make friends, which suggests that she had trouble making friends in the past, a struggle that is pretty common among neurodivergent people. Phoebe also has an unusual sense of humor.
Why should you never trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
That's funny.
No, it's not.
In addition to science puns, she also likes these absurd kinds of jokes that aren't generally acceptable or seen as funny. And Phoebe often makes these jokes at not socially acceptable times. Example, the gang is heading down a mineshaft with a threat of the world's destruction hanging over their heads, and Phoebe pipes up with,
So, what do a cigarette and a hamster have in common?
What?
They're both completely harmless until you stick one in your mouth and light it on fire.
The worst time.
And then later, when she's standing in front of Gozer and stalling for time, Phoebe immediately launches into more of these strange jokes. She has the undivided attention of the god that's about to destroy the world, and she defaults to jokes. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably because her brother encouraged her to use jokes to break the ice in social situations. She's probably falling back on that skill in one of the most anxiety-inducing social situations of her life. This across-the-board, generalized use of social rules makes me think that Phoebe's somewhere on the autism spectrum. That fits with her intense interest in science and her struggles with making friends. And there's a lot of other little details in the film that point to that as well. For starters, she has a more advanced vocabulary than most kids her age, which could be attributed to hyperlexia or just the fact that she reads books on science as part of her special interest, or both. And then, when Phoebe first gets to know her teacher, she tells a joke, isn't sure if the teacher caught it, then says something along the lines of, "I'm winking to tell you it's a joke." This intellectual understanding of social rules suggests that these rules aren't intuitive to her, that she had to consciously teach herself them, which is a hallmark of autism spectrum disorder. Later in the film, Phoebe says something to the effect of, "I feel my feelings, but don't show them on my face." She basically gives us the definition of flat or subdued affect, another common trait among autistics. When Phoebe starts exploring a creepy, probably haunted building, she tells her friend, "Overstimulation calms me down." This suggests she has some atypical sensory processing or stimulation weirdness, and is perhaps largely hyposensitive to stimuli. While hyposensitivity isn't as talked about in reference to autism, it still is another common autistic trait. And then, of course, there's the whole "don't be yourself" bit. This is the advice that Phoebe's mom gives her in regard to making friends. I don't really know how I feel about this, mainly because I don't remember how this advice was delivered, and I can't find the clip anywhere. This could either be Phoebe's mom well-meaningly encouraging Phoebe to mask her weirdness, i.e. autistic traits, or it could be just a sarcastic reminder not to waste time putting up facades for social gain. Either way, it's something worth mentioning here. Final conclusion, Phoebe Spengler is autistic. I'm not sure if the writers or actors intended it that way, but that's how she reads. And that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching this far. Tell me in the comments if you also saw this character this way, or if you have a different interpretation you'd like to share. Also, if you have any characters you'd like me to cover on this channel, feel free to comment that too. I mean, this is my first video. I need content.